people are actually scared to use those kind of tools. Like regular people, even though you can vibe code anything, they're kind of scared to. And those tools are, really advanced. But what we are really, and the audience for this show is more about, like, everyday people, everyday small businesses. How do they automate their work? How can they automate the work they do, daily workflows? This is more about that.
Hi, my name is Demetri Panici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Aytekin. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. In this episode, we're talking about AI agentic workflow builders. How are you doing today, Aytekin?
Hey Dimitri, I'm doing great. So here at Jotform, we are doing lots of work on our workflow product. We had this product for a while. We released it 2021, but at that time it was just approvals. Like it was an approval product. Like you receive a form and then you send it to someone for approval, kind of thing. And 2024, we actually renamed or kind of reinvented it as just from workflows, because it started to have more features. And now what we are working on is like just giving it powers, giving it like AI powers, being able to create workflows with AI, using AI within workflows, those kind of stuff. And while I was doing that, I've been like reviewing other products as well. So yeah, I thought, hey, why don't we cover this topic today? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just to kind of kick things off, I just want to talk about the landscape of agentic workflow builders. I think, at first glance, and we've talked about different automation platforms before on the show, AI and automation have kind of gone from being completely separate things to now most of the AI tools existing out there are having, we saw scheduled tasks originally with things like ChatGPT, but they've become much more usable, right? It's not just like just running a prompt at a certain time every day. It's running a prompt that actually has connection to different tools in the same way that an automation would naturally work in N8N, Make.com, or otherwise, Zapier or otherwise. And what we're going to show you today is how Jotform has kind of brought to you a really nice agentic workflow, and how other tools have kind of built upon where they were at when it comes to N8N, and then other different like AI tools automating work through scheduled tasks.
I mean, you can do this kind of stuff with products like, Cloud Code, Codex, and different tools. But I'm, trying to like some tools, people are actually scared to use those kind of tools. Like regular people, they even though you can vibe code anything, they're kind of scared to. And those tools are really advanced. But what we are really, and the audience for this show is more about, like, everyday people, everyday small businesses. How do they automate their work? How do they, they don't need to be technical. How can they automate the work they do, daily workflows? And but if you're using tools like that, like Cloud Code, like you can use tools like Skills. And I've been just discussing with a friend, and he was actually putting all these workflows inside Skills feature of that, like just describing what it does and creates a skill. And then basically every time he needs to do that workflow, he's just running that skill. And that also works well. But I'm more looking into like no code products that can actually like do those things, everything for you. Like if you need to send an email, like you shouldn't need to like set up all kinds of weird stuff. It should send the email for you. Yeah.
No, I agree, and I think people have different like levels of comfortability as to what like products they're going to use and like what level of technicality it requires to put something together. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna start with my demos. And then I know that you have some demo as well, and we'll go from there. All right. So, workflow automation. So we released Jotform workflows for a while ago. This, landing page is still not about AI. We have been adding AI internally. We still haven't launched the AI version of the product that's coming up in like 2 months, in June. But we are working on heavily, and just I'm so excited about it because people are like, when we interview people, we see that they love how AI together with a workflow product becomes so successful, so useful. So I'm just gonna start with my demo. So basically, when you're creating, in the past, like you would just create it manually, like just add these stuff. But now you can actually describe your workflow, and it will create it for you. So the I actually decided to like pick a single, prompt, and I use it on like various services so that I can actually compare them. How do they do? So every Friday morning, ask employees to send what projects they worked on during that week, so that we can track hours by project. So I'm not going to add a existing form, or I'm not going to upload anything. Just I wanted to create the form as well. So I'll just go ahead and say generate, and this is going to trigger like Jotform workflows, AI builder. So it's first decided on the starting point, right? I said every morning, so it's going to be on schedule. It's scheduled every week on Friday, 3 a.m. I would have made it like 9 a.m., but that's fine. I didn't define it. So one thing we try to do is like just we try to make it opinionated so that it doesn't like many of these products, they were slow and they constantly ask me questions. So in our product, like we try to make it more like opinionated, like just try to pick the best defaults so that I don't have to, you know, just answer like hundreds of different questions. So it's created a schedule for me. Like so this is like every week, at 9 a.m. maybe, run this schedule. And this Friday, we are recording on 17th, so it's already passed. So it's scheduling for the next Friday. And yeah, this looks good. I don't need to change anything. And then why did it go back to? So yeah, I guess it didn't save it. Okay, let's see. Save. Still okay. Yeah, I mean it's still we are improving the product, and and then after the schedule, right? We are actually it's we are sending a form to people. And here's the form. Basically, this is the form. Let's take a look at the form it created. It created a weekly project report form, employee name, project information, right? So it's going to send this to people every week, and then to receive submissions from it. Um, so this was Jotform, and I'm gonna showcase some other products. The next one I'm going to show is like I try to find products that just launched recently because there are a lot of cool ideas, and just I like stuff, and like I like their different personalities of these AI agents. Turn ideas into products that sell. So this is Atoms Atoms.dev. Um, right? And so basically, you can create a SaaS app, you can create an e-commerce platform, internal tool, personal project. So pretty much everything. It's pretty diverse. And I found it on Product Hunt. It was the Product Hunt Day number one product of the day. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. Let's look at the demo. So what I'm gonna do is like, because these products are very slow, like just constantly asking questions, I just took the screenshots and I'm gonna show it like this. So this is the first screen. I entered my prompt, and then it asked me to sign up, which is fine. It has Google login, which takes me like 10 seconds to sign up. And then basically on the right side, you see what it's building, and then on the left side, you can actually, see what it does. And then it told me what it's going to do. It's going to do a huge, like, it's just taken, like, decided to do this huge project with employee dashboard, project management, weekly submissions, like, just so many things. But yeah, I approved it. So it started working on this. It took a while though. Um, maybe if I can see from the screenshots, right? This one looks like it took like 15 minutes or something like that. Yeah, so it created this like tool, internal tool, which is really cool, time track, and it even has like the logo and everything. And then I can add a project. Um, and it even created pre-populated projects, things like that. So this is the first version of the app it built, and then I can just fill out the form and submit it. And right, so once it completed the first project, it continued with the next steps, like timesheet reminder part. And so yeah, maybe I put it accidentally. Okay, yeah. It asked me to give an API key to be able to send an email. So I don't think I was able to complete the email part. That was kind of disappointing, but the internal tool looked pretty cool. So the next product that I want to talk about is MuleRun. I love the name. I love the mules. It's very cool. Your personal AI, always on, act before you ask. Create multi-panel flat vector poster. Analyze price moments. So you can do pretty much everything. The always on AI agent that automates your workflows end to end. So it's always on, it works all the time for you. um, right, self-evolving AI workforce, proactive workflow automation. I love the titles. An AI workforce. Yeah, so let's take a look at what it looked like. So this is MuleRun, very similar to Adams. I entered my prompt to a text area, and then it asked me, like, what kind of format do you want? It's kind of, HTML. I picked HTML. Um, so it asked me some questions, and then from those questions, it actually started, uh, you know, project, how to define the project lists. And this is kind of, as for product, I prefer like a product to be opinionated, so that you can start with something working, then you can customize it if you want. But they were more like, trying to understand my needs at this point. And then yeah, they created this form, weekly timesheet form, which looked great. And then I asked it to send it to my demo email address. Published page first. I needed to publish, I guess, and then it was published. And right, again, like, it needed to use an automated email service like Google Apps Script, and I was kind of stuck there, I guess. But it gave me the code, which I would copy to my app script for my Gmail to be able to send emails, I guess. So at this point, I gave up on this one as well. So the next one I'm going to show is Pipedream. Looks like they're actually, joined the Workday team. What do you want to automate? I love that title. Prompt, run, and deploy AI agents in seconds. So you can do lots of things. Email categorization. Build an agent that monitors my inbox and categorize my emails. So AI agents and workflows, they're kind of now merging. They're becoming like a one thing. And right. So summarize my emails in Notion, workflow builder. So I'm going to show Pipedream, how it worked. Similarly, I entered my prompt, and then it asked me to sign up. I signed up. And it started working on the project. So it's doing like all this reasoning, making a plan and asking me to approve the plan. And I approved this plan, and basically it's showing the plan here, showing what it's doing like constantly here. So it's good that you can actually see what it's doing while it's working on it. And basically it created this weekly trigger, and then send weekly. So it's instead of email, it's decided to send weekly Slack messages. I think that's pretty cool. I like that idea. And you can pick how you want to receive these notifications, connect with your Slack account. So that was pretty cool as well. Or you can connect it with Microsoft Teams account and or Gmail account. So the reminders could go different ways. So I connected with Pipedream's Gmail account, and then like email address to configure. I entered my email address, and then I tested it, and like I received this email, weekly project hours reminder. So this was pretty successful. I was able to send the emails, and then because it didn't link to the right because it didn't link to the form, I decided that I'm just gonna reply back to it. But basically, like that's one step you could do to include the form link. And then it became kind of advanced at this point. Started showing me codes here, successful send email. For some reason, I don't know why. Yeah, and that was pretty much it. And the next one is Zapier. Zapier is happier. That's how they say it, Zapier. Make your workflow. Connect AI to nearly 8,000 tools without waiting for developers. So this is pretty, everybody knows Zapier. They are very cool. And, they have this workflow tool, and they are pretty old. Uh, they have all these advanced features. So Zapier was actually pretty good. I went ahead, I created a free account, and then entered my prompt, and then it started giving me options like how to do it. Should they fill out a form? Should they reply email? Should they use Slack? So I really liked the options. They were pretty good. And then I received some errors, but just they were temporary, so it was all good. And I believe I picked the email version, and then it started working the similar way. First, it created the form for me. It created this weekly project submission form, project name, hours worked, and submit. So this was pretty good. And then one thing I liked is like you can actually move between different pages between Zapier, and the AI that's helping you, the copilot that's helping you, is holding your hand while you go from here to there, and it doesn't forget about the project you are building. So that was great because, like, I think initial project that I was building, it didn't forget about it, and it kept like, took me to the form builder, took me to other parts of the site, and just hand hold my hand during these steps. So now I'm in the workflow part. So I'm building the workflow, the zaps, and every week emails, send outbound emails, right? And yeah, I sent a test demo to my emails, and you can also customize the contents of the email like this. And let's see, so you can do test runs. So that was also pretty good. And it looks like I don't take the screenshot of the email, but I also received the emails. So this was a Zapier. I think it was the most successful one. And NA10 is pretty good, but it's scary, right? If you For everyday people, it's kind of scary. Um, Even the name NA10, it could be scary for you know everyone. Basically NA10, you don't get that prompt by default, but if you open their copilot, the NA10 AI, you can enter it here. So I entered my prompt, and it created every Friday send an email, and it's actually created a form and connected to a database. So this was actually pretty good. Like, just doing what I wanted to do. And then I was able, I could create my account, Gmail account here, connected with my Gmail account to be able to send emails. And for the database, it just creates an internal database, a projects table, and I entered the project names manually like this, so that they show up on the dropdown. So yeah, I fixed those steps, like the email and the database parameters. And basically, my form was ready. I could enter my name, email, projects, and hours like this, submit my form, and just and test run, like using this execute button at the bottom, and publish it. And that was it. I was able to create a form and just send weekly emails to send reminders. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So those are a good couple list of items. I think, it seemed like I mean, you said it took a couple minutes every single time, but I mean, practically, like when I started building out the workflows that I used in like make.com and stuff, I mean, it took me a long time, back when I originally did it. And there wasn't really any AI help there. I think one that, maybe was missed on there from like the more traditional ones was maybe make.com. It has an AI builder now where you can like type stuff out and get results. But
I actually couldn't find it. Like, I
oh
went to
really?
make, couldn't find the AI part, so I decided not to try them.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
do you want to showcase them?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah.
couple different ones that I have here. Just kind of pull them up for you. There we go. Here's an example of one. So I just simply went to my Perplexity computer, for those of you that don't know, Perplexity computer is essentially like a new agentic type of system that works off of a bunch of different AI models built by Perplexity, and even uses other models that are not Perplexity oriented. As you can see, they actually just added Claude Opus 4.7 to the list here, which is cool. But basically, I asked the exact same prompt, and it basically did some research and told me like, hey, this is a really interesting thing that you can do. Here's how you'd maybe go about doing it. And then I said, okay, well, that's great. Can you just walk me through a list of questions to build it out for me? So, a lot of different things with AI, it simply takes you to ask it to give you more info, and then you can maybe fill out some questions, and it'll start making it. So for the purposes of this here, it gave me all these different questions like, who needs to submit these updates? Should they get multiple requests if they're late for it? Reminder wise, what should they fill out? What data should be outputted in a report format, and the different tech stack type questions. So I answered all the questions here really quick, and then it showed me an example and built out the automated workflow, right? To have something like this get sent back to me. I just said, make it basic, make it easy, have it send out these emails, right, consistently. And then I get a follow-up that ingests all of the different emails I get back and puts it into a spreadsheet for me. Now, spreadsheets are perfectly cool. And here's the spreadsheet. You can see right here. Here's an example spreadsheet that was built out from receiving the emails. But that's obviously just one thing, and this is pretty cool. So, it's just one example of what I can do with like these different automated workflows you can make with AI tools. And by the way, the way that this is powered is I have a Gmail connector in here that automatically sends out emails and receives emails. I made my own Python scripts in order to actually get it from multiple email sources for myself because I have multiple different emails that I use, which is very cool. Um, but that's that in that context. And I have another example of this in a bit of a cooler, I would say, looking final outputs. So if I go over to my Claude here, Claude Cowork and Claude Code both have really cool schedule type stuff. And here's another example of me putting the same prompt where I ask every Friday, ask employees to send what projects they worked on so that during the week so that they can track the hours by project. And then it says from whom, right? Similar thing. And it creates a scheduled task, as you can see, that has all this in here that I can turn on and off, right? It's an active automation that starts next Friday. And if I press run now, it'll actually run and send it now. If I go
Hmm.
back here to what I just made, give me a second. All I did was answer the question, right? As to who the people
Hmm.
were. It created the
Nice.
tasks, and then the example output that I would receive in response is actually a little bit cooler than just a
Wow.
basic sort of spreadsheet. I'd get
Mm.
weekly hours by project, total team hours, this amounts, person in person, and then it would actually break down, in a chart the different amount of time they'd spent on both. And then it had some categories as examples based off of what I would have received via an email.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is literally made through a couple of typing like options, right? And that's maybe all people need now. Maybe they don't need to go through a whole automated workflow. Granted, the difference between setting this up and setting up what you set up is pretty marginal at this point, right? I mean, we have automations now I guess in the simplest sense, in platforms being able to be built with AI, but tools that are able to do things for you now, like Claude and Perplexity, are
Hmm.
allowing you to be able to set up automated doing things for you in their actual AI platforms too, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Those are some options. And then just another one that I wanted to show for the purposes of this. You get Manus open. So Manus is one that I play around with
Understood.
sometimes. Um, this is something that I actually have running on a recurring basis, which is just I have this download folder that's a little bit unclean.
Hmm.
You see all these different folders that are in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I had running on a recurring basis is I have Perplexity Computer, or not Perplexity Computer, Manus Computer control my computer. And when I say use Manus Computer, if I have this open in the background, it'll run it. I'm a little bit, let's say, inconsistent with using it, but I basically have some Python scripts and stuff like that working to automatically improve this. So all of this type of stuff, this like really um, cluttered portion of things, as you can
Hmm.
see over time, you can actually get it automatically organized. different data, different documents, all organized within folders
Nice.
rather than it being all over the place, which can be pretty useful and was literally a couple prompts away from me saying like, this is awful. Can you like please organize this every day for me at like 5 p.m. Um, and it's a different, type of thing because it's not cloud based. It's, I guess, more computer and,
Hmm.
on your actual hard drive base. Um, and then actually, real quick, just to kind of show you some other ones that are good for Perplexity that are maybe a little different. If I go here to new, I go to scheduled. Um, I have a bunch of different ones going. Like I have one that takes my grain recordings for
Hmm.
recent calendar events. So this basically connects to my calendar, and it's something I set up once, and then I don't have to worry about it again. Which it checks grain, which is an MCP connection that I have built already, which is a meeting recorder, and then it tracks the different tasks that were in the meeting, and then adds it to my Todoist, which is another really cool one. And these are all it's based. This is basically like my list of automations as you would imagine it, in the same way that you'd have in a list of automations, right? On
Awesome.
the workflows that you'd have in make.com or n8n, right? It's just where do you want to see it? Where do you want to do it? I think a good example of it would be, um, let me find another one. So there's that one. Oh, here we go. So I have AI news pop up all the time,
Awesome.
right? So this is from 417, right? Here's some example LinkedIn posts for my own personal thing that talks about agent AI agent security. It's just IT cosplay until you add a harness. And then I have my own team kind of work through the different trends of the day, the different posts, and then make something that looks a little bit better on my own actual like LinkedIn and then for my own YouTube scripts and stuff like that. So this is very much like a where do you, what I just guess I want to get across out of Ken is it's how do you want to slice it? Do you want to have it show up in your AI workflows for the different AI tools that you use? Do you want to have it in your own in the automation builders? It's kind of all up to what you want, what you are interested in, and yeah, just it's just really great to kind of see it went so far from the original thing, which was like you have to really know how to no code, set this stuff up, to you have to do it within the platform, but it's easier to make, and then now you can just do it within an AI chat capability.
Yeah, I mean, if you are like a small business and you have multiple people who needs to be able to like see the automations, customize them, you might prefer like third-party tools where you can, give access to other people. Um, that would be one advantage over just using Cowork. Um, I'm not sure if you can use Cowork with multiple people. Maybe there's a way to do it, but I'm sure that they will probably add that in the future. But it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, just to kind of wrap things up, where do you think Jotform's new builder kind of sits to continue to take hold of the market and improve kind of what it's doing to work together with the different things that are out there to make the best product possible?
Yeah, I would say usually, Jotform's workflows are more about, organizational kind of automating organizational work. You know, small business, education, nonprofit, healthcare. When you have like multiple people communicating, doing work together, it's kind of it's helpful to use forms, and we are because our users and we have like so many active users on our workflow products. So basically that's the kind of like prompts we are seeing, like, or when we interview people who use workflows, the kind of things they do is more like that. So that's why we are more focused on that area. Like if you are kind of organizing people, about those kind of like forms and things like that, our workflow products works really well. And I think that's just we have so much we can do on that one, like just this, for example, the scheduling, sending forms and then like creating reports kind of thing. It's very common thing we see among Jotform users. So I think it's just there's just like so many products coming out. Like I was looking at product hunt and I was seeing like hundreds of products about workflows, and there's just like people are now people are beyond like just going to ChatGPT and asking questions and getting answers. They want to use AI to get their work done. They want AI to do the work for them. Like they want to like work with AI agents, work with like AI workflow products, and just give their work to them. And once you start giving these work, like you just have to start to kind of manage all these work happening, right? You just showed us like how many like automations you have on Perplexity. You had like 33 different like scheduled automations. So this tells me that you know, and all these different automations, you have to connect them, you have to work them together. So there's just like so many challenges in this area, but there's just the technology is now making sense. Like it's just possible, and more and more people will start using it, and that's why we're really excited about it. Like just there's just so much excitement for our workflow product in Jotform users. So our first priority is to get it right for them, make sure it works well for them, make sure that like the regular automations, AI like workflows that might work with forms, we do really well. And then the second step is kind of like inside these workflows, how do you use AI? Like, how do you use AI well inside these automations? How do you use AI agents within automations, right? So we are gonna focus on that area next, but it's really exciting stuff, definitely.
Yeah, but it really is, and I think it's going to be a constantly changing landscape that I'm excited to kind of explore as the time progresses, and we continue to work together to explore these things on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in June when we release the latest version of AI, Chatform AI workflows, we'll definitely do another episode and feature all the you know coming new features. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, I think it's a good place to kind of close things out. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming and watching this episode. Make sure that you check out everything that we're doing over there at Jotform with the new workflow stuff that we're building at Jotform. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
See you the next time.